Hey everybody, thank you for joining me, Tamara Tamu, here for another episode of Unleashed Alchemy. We're on this channel, on this show, we talk about going against the grain so that you can experience spiritual freedom and a soul-fulfilled life. Welcome. Thank you for being here once again. So, two things that we're going to be talking about today. I want to talk about meditation. Yes, meditation. Now, you may be saying, okay, after all the things that we have talked about on the show, we have talked about alchemy, we've talked about magic, higher power, whatever that means and looks like to you. We talk about getting messages and trusting your messages from your elevated guides. Well, isn't that beyond meditation? Isn't meditation at this point basic? And I say no, it isn't. Because from my perspective, meditation is the foundation of spiritual transformation and spiritual elevation. It's just in how we view what we think meditation is supposed to look like and what we feel like meditation should mean or is supposed to mean. Okay? So we're going to talk about that today. Also, I want you to stay to the end because I want to share with you some very exciting changes that I have made to the way that I do one-on-one sessions. Okay, so the change is coming, has come up because I feel as though this change is going to give people more of what they need as far as moving into a life of spirituality versus religion and dogmatic programming that goes along with religion. But we'll get to that at the end of the video. So stay tuned to the end. So let's talk about meditation. And I'm seeing a lot of these messages coming up, which has been surprising to me when you do talk about meditation, because as much as meditation has been talked about, the power in meditation, our ancient ancestors knew, the Gnostics knew the importance and power of meditation. Meditation was a way of life. It wasn't there was life in their meditation. No, meditation was the life. Okay? Just as it's important for us to brush our teeth every day, that's how meditation was looked at. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm sitting here talking, it was even more important than brushing your teeth because we only brush our teeth at certain times of the day. Okay? Some of us, hopefully most of you watching this, when you wake up in the morning after you eat your breakfast, whatever, before you do anything, you brush your teeth. When you get home, from whatever your day looks like, you brush your teeth again. Some of us have the ability to be able to perhaps brush our teeth more than twice a day, throughout the day perhaps, whatever. Well, our Gnostics knew, our indigenous ancestors knew that because they knew of the importance of meditation, meditation was just, it was not just in the morning, it wasn't just at night, it wasn't just perhaps at certain times of the day. That is how they lived. Meditation connects you, strengthens your connection with the higher power that is in you. Not the higher power that is separate from you, but it connects you to your higher mind, your elevated consciousness, your higher consciousness, your goddess power, God power, whatever you want to call it, your cosmic power, the universal intelligence that is within you. That's what meditation does. It keeps you connected to that. Not in just certain parts of your life, but in every single part of your life. So, why people don't meditate? Let's talk about that. So it seems as if people are inconsistent. Meditation is not a priority anymore. We all of our lives look different. Some of us will say we have very busy lives, and that is due to this programming the system of this workforce, which that's not what this video is about. That's a totally different topic. But all of that, all of these different things that we are involved in, some of them are soul aligned, some of them are not. Some of them are designed to keep us putting meditation off. Oh, I'll do it this afternoon, or I'll do it tonight. Or, I didn't meditate again today. I'll just make sure I do it tomorrow. The way that life is systematically set up is that it is set up intentionally to get us away from that, to get us away from our soul and from our spirituality. All right. So that's one of the reasons why. Also, I'm going to propose to you some other reasons here. Okay. So one of the reasons why people don't meditate is because their focus is on stopping their thoughts. Okay, some people don't meditate because they've told themselves, well, since I can't stop my thoughts, I'm not going to meditate. The focus is off. All right, that's the first thing. Second thing is that many people, when it comes to meditation, they are attached to an outcome that comes from preconceived notions or comparison. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, and by the way, I'm kind of playing around with different setups of how I do these videos. So my setup is different today. So my notes are in my lap. So if you see me looking down, that's why. All right. Now let's get back on track. The next thing is that people don't meditate because they expect to feel something in their body. They expect to feel some type of, they expect to feel something in their body. And then if that doesn't happen, if they don't, oh, well, I meditated, today and I didn't feel anything, then they let their logic tell them, well, see, why meditate? Nothing happened. Third thing, okay? Now, for the fourth reason, people have a rigid view of what we think meditation is supposed to look like. Now, that could be tied into the preconceived notions or comparisons, but it is a little bit different. So that's why I separated those two reasons out. So there's 4 reasons, and we're going to go through each one. So the first one, people don't meditate because they're focused on stopping their thoughts. That focus is off. And I hesitate saying wrong, but the focus is off. When you focus on stopping thought flow, that is the thing that causes resistance and discouragement toward meditation. You'll hear people say, oh, well, I've tried to meditate, but my mind still races. First of all, you don't try to meditate. Meditation is a practice. It is a practice. You don't try to meditate. Meditation is a practice. So then they tell themselves, well, because I sat and my mind still raced, then perhaps it was a waste of time because I didn't get anything from it. So here's what you have to understand. Like I mentioned earlier, we all have higher power, higher intelligence, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. We all have a higher intelligence existing within us. We are not separate from it. So so you mean to tell me if you sit and your intention is to connect with that, to strengthen that connection, to give your mind over to that connection, you mean to tell me that power is too weak to infiltrate your thoughts, to connect with your mind. You mean to tell me that that higher power is not strong enough to do that? I am here to tell you that even through noise internally, noise externally, at the same time, spirit, your higher power, can get through all of that to give you whatever message you need in the moment, to give you whatever wisdom and guidance you need at that time. Period. But you have to be willing to embrace that notion. All right? So when you can embrace the notion when you shift your focus on simply just strengthening your connection with your higher mind. Not, I'm going to meditate to try and stop my thoughts. I am going to dedicate 5 minutes to sitting. You could even be standing. Whatever it takes for you to just get comfortable in your body so that you can get still. If you just set the intention, if you say it out loud, I am dedicating these 5 minutes to connect with my higher mind, regardless of what happened before those 5 minutes, regardless of what your external environment looks like. If you set that intention versus, well, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes and meditate so I can stop my mind. There's a difference. The energy is different. There's a difference in your energy when you set an intention of stopping your thoughts versus setting the intention of, I'm just going to connect with my higher mind. There's a more peaceful energy. There's a more peaceful approach to meditation when your focus is on simply strengthening that connection and nurturing that connection with your higher mind. So that's the first point. All right. Also, I want to say this, and I mentioned the time already. People think they have to, and this is getting into one of the other points, but that's okay. Oftentimes when you mention meditation, people automatically think, oh my God, I have to sit down for 30 minutes, an hour. 5 minutes. If you had 5 minutes, and let's say that perhaps your mind did race for 4 of those 5 minutes, but if you had 60 minutes of just focusing on your connection with your higher mind, do you not know that time that can produce an internal shift within you? It's better than zero. It's better than not meditating at all. But just that minute out of 5 minutes, if you had a minute where your mind was not racing, just that minute, because remember, our soul transcends time. So the way that we look at meditation, really, when we put a time on when we put a time limitation on meditation, that's just coming from our own logic, because our soul transcends time. The higher mind, our higher power, transcends time. It transcends this physical body. So it makes sense that only a minute of your mind being quiet and you focusing on that connection with your higher power, of course, that's going to have quantum benefits and add quantum benefits to your life in that moment and beyond that 5 minutes. All right, so let's get to the second point. Some of us don't meditate because we are attached to an outcome. That comes from comparison. We hear especially with social media, I almost said something else. Social media, we see, people talk about meditation. We see what they look like, and how they talk about how long they meditated and the experience that they had in meditation. And we think, well, I meditated for 30 minutes too, and I didn't get the same result. So then what does your logic tell you? What do you allow your ego to say? Well, see, you did something wrong. They had the same result. You didn't feel anything, so you must be doing something wrong. So why even meditate? All right. Now, attached to that is some people don't meditate because they expect some type of instantaneous external occurrence. Some of us started meditation because we wanted to get something in the external. That's why I started it when I was really having a spiritual, well, to me, having a spiritual awakening is not just a one-time thing. It happens over and over and over again. I will say that some of those moments are more intense than the other. One of my most intense ones is when I really started making meditation part of my spiritual practice on a regular basis. And it was initially, I need to get something. I need to get something in my external environment, which is fine. Okay. That there's nothing, I'm not judging that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yet, when you sit down to meditate and your focus is on, okay, after, when I meditate, I'm expecting to get this. I'm expecting to see this change in my external environment. I'm expecting to see this happen and this happen and this happen. When your focus is on that and it doesn't happen in the time that you think it's supposed to happen or instantaneously, then once again, our ego starts to flare up. Our logic starts to flare up and say, well, see, that didn't happen. There were no instantaneous results. So, yeah, meditation is just not for you. Okay, why waste time? You're just sitting when you could be doing something productive. Okay, that's what happens. So, what you have to understand about meditation is that, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but I'm just going to say this here. I'll say it twice if I have to. Meditation, if you are, say you've been manifesting results, you've been taking inspired action, you really are taking the time to invest in your self-gratitude, to invest in your imagination, by programming your subconscious with your soul aligned desires. You know that you have been doing that internal work, that inner work. Okay. And you have been petitioning whatever that looks like to you, whether it's through candle magic, whether it's through water magic, whether it's through, some type of ritual, invocation, incantation, whatever. Okay. Whatever your process is. When you go to meditate, that is our opportunity to receive the guidance. Perhaps you've been invoking guidance and wisdom for a business or how to, handle a certain situation, where to move to, whatever. Well, our meditation practice allows us to receive. Well, just because we don't receive in that moment, what that moment that we have invested to meditate, that has opened up portals for us to receive sometimes later on in the day. Sometimes when we go to sleep at night, the guidance will come through in a dream because we have opened up that portal, because we have strengthened once again our connection with our higher power. That guidance could come the next day. The guidance could even come in a song that we hear later on in the same day. It is, your meditation is clearing the path. It's, if you can look at it like that, it's clearing the path so that you can receive. Yes, the whatever answer, whatever guidance, whatever wisdom that you have already received comes in. It can come in that moment when you are meditating. Of course it can, yes. But if it doesn't mean that your meditation hasn't been effective. Okay, so that's what I want you to get from that point. Next point is this: the feeling. Okay, we expected to feel something in our body. All right, and if we don't, then we allow our logic to tell us that nothing happened. Not true. So part of meditation is just to be in a state of receiving, letting go of any resistance, any nervousness. That's why it's important that when you meditate, whether you could be sitting up, some people sit up in a chair, some people lay down, it doesn't matter. Whatever it takes for your body to be as relaxed, your physical body to be as relaxed as possible. So the same thing with receiving a message is the same thing as with having a feeling. You may not feel anything during your actual session of meditating. Whatever sensation in your body that's going to come, it could come again, it can come 5 minutes after you meditate. It could come in later on in the day. You could be shaken up out of your sleep from a sensation that was a result of your meditation that happened earlier in the day. That is your higher power communicating with you. That it could be, that sensation could be a signal that you are about to receive a download. You are about to receive a message. You are about to receive a vision that you need to write out, record, whatever. All right. Last point. Some of us don't meditate. We don't make meditation a priority because we have a very rigid image of what meditation is supposed to look like. Traditionally, meditation has been sitting. We see people sitting, closing their eyes. But you could meditate through walking, feeling into every time your foot hits the pavement. Some of us meditate through writing, allowing a stream of consciousness to just flow through you from your higher power. Painting. You can meditate through painting, through art. Yes, you can meditate through your breath, focusing on your breath, because that is part of, or it is your life source. What you breathe, if you imagine that every time you breathe in and out, that light is your higher power being expressed through you, from you, in you, all around you. All right? You can meditate by staring at the flame of a candle. You meditate through movement. I mentioned walking. You can meditate through dance. Why is movement of your body, why can that be a part of meditation? Because your body, connected to your nervous system, that is how you receive. Our body is a portal to receive messages from a higher power, from spirit. So to have that activated, we're activating that connection once again. We're clearing out our channel to receive once again when we move our bodies. So that's why movement can be considered a form of meditation. So we have to release what we think meditation is supposed to look like. So those are the 4 points that I wanted to give to you, all right, regarding meditation. Meditation will never be basic, ever. You may start off sitting and closing your eyes meditating. But because we're expansive, because our spiritual practice is meant to grow and expand and transform, meditation is going to look different for you at different times and for different people. So that's why it's important. You cannot compare your meditation practice to another. You can't compare what your meditation looks like to someone else's. All right? So take those 4 points, see if you can do something with it. All right, so that you can keep meditation as a priority in your life, as a priority of your spiritual practice, as another magic tool to your spiritual bag. Okay, so now if you stay to the end, now let me just talk about briefly the change that I've made to how I have structured the one-on-one appointments. Yes, the Magic School is still popping. It is still going on. If you have not checked out the Magic School, I encourage you to do so. It has a plethora of resources, mainly video workshops, okay, that were channeled through me from my own spiritual experiences that I have shared with you inside the Magic School. It is helpful to you if you are, whether you're, I don't know, this sounds so weird when I hear people say this, whether you're new to spirituality, because none of us are new to spirituality. If you are in this body, you are spiritual, whether you believe that or not. All right. But if spirituality has just become the focus of your life, or perhaps you have been on a spiritual path, but you know that it is time for you to make a jump, and it's time for you to experience more. You know that there's more that is awaiting you. There's more in the unknown that is awaiting for you to embrace. This school is for you. Okay, you'll also have access to the community where you can be joined with other alchemists, magicians, spiritualists, who we are all having this human experience. Yet we are spiritual beings who came here with spiritual gifts, who know that we have the power to call the unseen into the seen. That is integration. And that's another thing that we talk about within the Magic School. So you'll have access to the school, the resources, and the community, and also our live sessions that we do every single month. Okay, so now let me talk about my one-to-one sessions that I have adjusted. Instead of one-on-one sessions, okay, I've created a 90-day spiritual consulting package. Okay, this particular package, number one, anytime I get, and I don't shy away from saying this, anytime I get any type of download or an inspiration to switch up something, I'm doing it for me first. All right? Doing it for me first. I know the reason I say that is because I know that this package is going to make it easier for me to help as many people as possible get the most effective results after working with me. And what I have found is that one-on-one sessions, it's not enough to address the impact that people are feeling from religious programming, from religious trauma, from any type of dogma that has kept them bound. Okay? So you've heard me talk about this on the show, how I grew up in a religious cult. Although I left physically in my 20s, it would take me 20 plus years to really get free emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It doesn't have to take you 20 years. It doesn't. The phases that I went through, it did not have to take me 20 years, but it did for the purpose of me bringing you those phases to cover in 90 days so that you can be free even before the 90 days are complete. So it is called the 90-day spiritual consulting package. Very simple. All right. So in that 90 days, we are going to have scheduled video sessions once every other week. Okay. And we're going to discuss, the impacts of religious dogma that you have experienced that is keeping you bound. We're going to get honest about where we're at with that, because I see so many people wanting to expand spiritually, but they are afraid because of what they've been taught religiously. All right. So to move from religion to spiritual freedom means to move from external worth validation to automatic worth simply because you exist. Okay? To move from religion to spiritual freedom means to move from external guidance to complete trust of your inner wisdom and your intuition. To move from religion to spiritual freedom means to move from looking to an external mediator, an external guru, to self-empowerment. That's what the Gnostics knew. They knew it. Our ancient ancestors knew that. To move from religion to spiritual freedom means to move from one way to divinity to knowing that there are infinite ways to divinity. To move from religion to spiritual freedom means to move from just forsaking all else to integration of many spiritual practices, if that's what you choose. To move from religion to spiritual freedom means to remove from control to freedom. All right? So in 90 days, you're going to work with me. Like I said, we're going to have one-to-one scheduled video sessions. In between those sessions, you're going to have time to integrate the phases that I will present to you to release yourself. These sessions are designed to remind you of your own power to release yourself from religious dogma to spiritual freedom. But I'm presenting you the phases that I went through. Again, over 20 years, but I'm giving them to you so that you can go through them in 90 days in a way that is easeful, in a way that's not going to disrupt your current life or your current schedule. It's going to be in a way that is expansive and transformative. Okay? So I'm going to leave the link to schedule that package with me. Okay? I encourage you to click on the link, read through all that you're going to get from those 90 days, or I should say in those 90 days. Just take time to read it. And if you have any questions for me, you can send me an email, unleashedalchemy@gmail.com. Okay. Also, the link for the Magic School is also in the description box. And another thing that I want to tell you too, in this, included in the 90-day spiritual consulting package, you'll also, within those 90 days, you will have access to the Magic School and the community. Okay. and the live sessions in the Magic School, of course. All right, so thank you for tuning in for another episode of Unleashed Alchemy. And until next time, cheers.